Perspective. Point of view. Seeing the same thing but from a different angle. This episode is dedicated to the pioneering ladies of BMX. When BMX was still in its infancy, its identity was unfolding in real time. These young ladies carved out a place of their own to thrive. They took risks, defied expectations, and proved that the track wasn't just a place for the boys. It was a place for anyone with the courage to ride. Join us as we shift the lens and view BMX through their eyes, honoring the women who broke barriers, expanded possibilities, and blazed the trail for future generations to follow.
Hi, my name is Cindy Cooper Parsons. I started racing in 1977 in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Raced up till 1982. I got into racing because I wanted to do what my brothers were doing. I was the only girl, and I loved it.
My name is Diane Hicks Chambers. I started BMX racing in 1980 to about 1984. I got into BMX because my father owned the House of Wheels. So I started racing in the 80s and raced for about 4 years until the boys got bigger and I wanted to be prettier. So I didn't want all the scars all over me.
Hi, my name is Candace Tucker. I found the BMX track in 1989 with my brother. Back in 1989, I actually started racing around 91, 92, all the way until I turned 16 and got a car. And that was it for then. And then I came back in 2020, got injured, a knee injury, took off a season or two, and then started back this year.
How did you discover the sport and what kept you coming back?
In 1977, across this road my grandparents lived, there was the NBA BMX track, and we used to go over and play at rodeo grounds. My brothers and I used to go over there and play, and we decided we wanted to race. And so my dad came to town, and he took our brothers and myself to Cook's department store and got them these heavy motocross bicycles and got me a girl's 3-speed. And the boys went out and they were racing, and I wanted to race. And so I took that bike and took it to Larry's bike shop and traded it out for a frame and forks. Had to walk all the way across town in a heat with that. And Rodney helped me build it together. And we started going to the NBA track. And there were no other girls racing, but it didn't matter because I was the only girl anyway in my family. So racing boys wasn't anything new. It was just another thing that I did with the guys. And what kept coming back is the need for speed. I love it.
So I was it's about 80. My dad owned a bike store, and there was a little BMX track they had built next to the store, and we called it the Moore track. It was just a big mud pit, but all the older boys were always there. And since my dad worked all the time, we were always there. And so when Noel and Bob Decker and all of them said, hey, we're going to build this place called Trosper Park. So I was always there. And so it was one of those things where it was almost natural that I would race because I had an older sister that was too old to race, and my younger brother raced with me, and we were there every day. They were always fixing the track, and so it was kind of natural that we just take our bikes and move around, and then we just started racing, and it went from there. And then as you get further and further into it, you meet more and more people, and all of a sudden you're going with the Dunsmores to Colorado, you're going with the Williams to Texas, and I just kept kind of being brought in. And as a girl, at that point, we didn't race girls. There were no girls. And so we were just hanging out with the boys and going everywhere with them. I kept coming back because the boys always thought they could beat me. It's like I had to prove it, And so when we show up at a track that didn't know girls, we show up at sometimes we go to Fort Smith and I show up Fort Smith and like, they've got a girl on the team, and so it was their goal to make sure I didn't finish the race. And it was my goal to make sure that I beat them bad enough they couldn't take me out. I don't know how you guys were, but it was like they just were, they're just couldn't stand the fact they lost to a girl. So
That is so sweet.
it was awesome. It was awesome. So
Yeah, in 1989, our neighbors discovered the BMX track and told us about it. And the next week, my brother was up there racing. I watched him for about a year and then decided I needed to get on the bike and took off from there. Loved it, loved beating the boys. I was fortunate to have more girls in the 90s to race, but that is probably my favorite memory is being on a gate with a group of guys and beating them all. So yeah, that was the best one.
Were there specific moments when you felt like you had to prove yourself?
Every time I see the track, you're racing boys. You got to prove you got to show them that you belong there. Because not that they were really rude, but do you want to be beat by a girl? They don't. It was natural. I felt like it was natural because I had all boys in my family. But when you go up against people like Dallas LaPrada and all just other people on the track, it's a little intimidating. And but it was fun. So much fun. And I think that at the end of my first year of racing, when we had our trophies for the track, and I got to take home the number one trophy in my age group against all the boys. Sweet. Sweet victory.
It's all worth it.
Yeah, it was awesome. You just they kept pulling you back. The boys couldn't stand losing to us, and they would, they were always like, okay, I'm gonna sacrifice my win, just take her out so that she doesn't win, because their goal in life is to make sure that she didn't win or I didn't win.
Yes.
And at the time when I was racing, we lived it. It was every day. We went to the track was not far from us. My dad owned a bike store, so we were surrounded by boys and bikes, and you just get pulled in. And it was awesome. Yeah.
Last week we had a gate of girls and guys, and the guys still don't like losing to the girls, so it's still a thing.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
What was the connection like with other female riders? Competitive, supportive?
Didn't have a whole lot of contact with other female riders except for when I went to nationals, and they were all factory sponsored. And so it was very competitive. It was fun. I remember my first national was the 78 Swin Nationals that came to NBA Tractor in Shawnee. I took third place against Misty Dawn, and I can't remember who took first, but I was never so happy to get a third place trophy in my life. So it was my first national.
I think there was 3 girls on our track at Trostbrook. And so Yolanda Williams was my best friend. Her dad was my coach. So we traveled everywhere together. And so I always had Yo. She was an age group ahead of me. So until she went factory GT and was flying, because they paid for her to fly, we went everywhere together. So her and I were the only girls that we knew. And then we went to nationals, we'd see girls. And nationals was the hardest races I raced, because if you're a girl at nationals, you were good. And so, Sherry Elliott, I had to race her all the time. It was like, could she just not show up once, So it was kind of where there wasn't a lot of girls. So
I would say a very supportive off the track, competitive on the track. Yeah, your friendship stops once that gate drops.
Can you describe your favorite race?
I didn't know my favorite race. I'll start.
You go ahead.
So it wasn't a victory at all, but my favorite race was Shreveport, Louisiana. It was a Gold Cup. I think it rained like 15 inches. It it rained and rained. And so it was this huge mud pit. There was no ability to have, it didn't matter how good you were. It didn't matter if you had started racing that day. If you made it to the finish line, you won because you could, it was so sloppy. We were, and we were just falling in the mud. We couldn't even stand up. We couldn't even figure out gears. Like, what are you guys, what gear? I'm like, I can't even get it to turn. I can't even pedal. And so it finally dried out for finals, and I made it to finals. And the thing was, if you did the top of the berm, it was dry, but the bottom was a mud pit. And so it's whatever gate you pulled is how you won. Because if you pulled one, you got the mud pit. Mm-hmm. And I pulled one. So it was like, I can't go through the mud pit. So, but it was a blast. We laughed. We were soaking wet the whole time. And it was a mud bath. And someone won that gold cup, but it wasn't me. I think I took second or third, but it was fun. So
I think mine was Indianapolis. It was the first time we raced indoors. It was a Jag
Spotcher
event, and they had wooden jumps, but we had never ridden on concrete. They didn't have any dirt there. And so we're trying to figure out how to get these bikes to go around these corners without sliding out from underneath us. And everybody's having a tough time, but it was really awesome. Didn't place. And they walked out though. They were trying to put hairspray on the tires to make it sticky so that you could stick to the concrete. And I was like, that's really cool. It's a good theory. But when hairspray gets dry, it's slick. So, and they're like, what? And I'm like, if you're a girl, you would know this. So I was not putting hairspray on my tire. And I think that the funnest part about that trip was we got done racing one night. It was really late. And everybody's hungry. Everybody's there from all over the country. And we ended up at this Waffle House. And Harry, Larry, and a bunch of the pros are there. And this poor Waffle House was not prepared for what was there. Here comes all of these hungry BMX riders ready to eat. And we're starving. And there's like 4 employees, maybe 5, because they're small. And we're like wall to wall filling them up. And Harry and the guys also go over to the kitchen. They're like cooking food for us, taking orders. We're still paying, helping the staff out, but we were starving. We didn't have time to mess around. We were wanting to eat. And that was a really great memory to me.
My probably best race would have been the Gold Cup win in 95. Now, by default, the girl did wreck, but I still won it. And my favorite is probably in Sooner Pearl. It was 92, 93 when I was on a gate full of guys and beat them all. So I don't remember Adam Scott might have been in that gate, but yeah, that was definitely my favorite win.
You've taken skills from BMX and then have applied them into everyday life. Is that fair?
Sure. Yes.
And what skills would you say BMX has taught that you brought into everyday life?
So I really pulled from the discipline part of it because I went back. I decided when I was 47, and I decided I wanted to go to college. Something I really wanted to do in the time I was young, and I was just never had the opportunity. It's a little intimidating to walk into a junior college to start your career at that age. But with extreme discipline, I worked 50, 60 hours a week, went to school full time, and got my associates with honors, and then turned right in and rolled right into my bachelor's with honors. And it is the discipline part that I pulled from BMX and just being committed to what you're doing, because it's a commitment that I think really attributed to that.
And I would agree. It's discipline, being able to just continue, the athleticism, the dedication. It's kind of helps you along the way.
Yeah. Not to go back to confidence, but definitely confidence. Just being able to be a conversation starter, I think definitely helps in uncomfortable situations.
I'm sure. Good icebreaker.
Yeah.
Really, because no one even knows I raced BMX half the time. So my kids are like, "You're doing what? You did what?"
My kids went to watch the Hall of Fame and they were like,
Wow.
yeah, that was pretty cool, Mom. I'm trying to get you guys to do this. It's
Yeah, we
pretty
went to
cool.
Hall of Fame. My kids were like your dad and you were like a big deal.
Yeah.
Really? And he was like, well, it was the 80s and we weren't like, it's not like we were a big deal now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think so. If you go back and give your younger self advice about BMX, what would it be?
I would say, I'm sorry, don't stop. I did quit when I was 16. Not that I didn't need a little bit of a break, but I wish I would have at least came back in my mid-20s and not wait until 40 to come back, because it is excellent exercise.
Better than 59.
Yeah.
I'm coming back at 59.
You gotta start somewhere, or at least start somewhere.
And I would say definitely for my younger self is not to give up. I always felt like there was only room in our household for one superstar. And so I felt like I kind of discounted myself. But I did that by choice. And I would give myself the advice to keep doing it, keep going. Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't keep going because of injury. So it was kind of one of those where maybe you enjoy it while it lasts. Because once you have an injury that you can't do it anymore, it's kind of like big letdown that, but it was fun and enjoy it. Don't forget to have, remember the good stories along the way. Wonderful memories.
Yeah. Good memories.
What would you tell the girls of tomorrow who might be watching this today?
Try it. I mean, you won't know unless you try it. It's definitely a great family sport. While you are your own rider, it's a good family camaraderie.
It is. Yeah. It pulls families together. And that's what this world needs more of. And get out there and go. You can do it. Yeah. And you can do it. You just gotta want to.
I'm sure. Exactly. Yes. Just try it. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I just really enjoyed it. Yeah.
The next chapter in my journey to explore BMX through the eyes of the women who shape it took me to the 2025 USA BMX Legacy Nationals in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I had been spending time with trailblazing pioneers, revisiting the roots of our sport. But arriving at this event gave me pause. The scale, the energy, the evolution of BMX was undeniable. Among the crowd were global competitors and even Team USA Olympians, a powerful reminder of how far the sport has come. But this story is far from over. There are still voices to be heard. Who else will sit with me and share their journey? One unforgettable moment was meeting Miss Kitty in person. Even more special was sitting down with her to hear firsthand about her remarkable experiences in BMX.
Miss Kitty, thank you so much. And being here at the Legacy Nationals.
Yes.
Are you having a good time?
Oh, I'm enjoying myself. I've had 2 great days of racing, and another one comes tomorrow
Awesome.
on Sunday.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
I got a few questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. When did and what was happening when your BMX journey began?
So that was the Mother's Day of 88 is when I did my very first BMX race.
88.
39 going on 40. Now, I didn't have a BMX bike at the time, so I had Maxes, little Maxes.
Okay.
Okay. I stuffed my afro into that helmet of his so it wasn't big enough for my head. And I put on his gloves they were a little too small for my hands. And I got on his little 20-inch and I rode that track.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a great appreciation for what the sport was all about, because for me, road racing and mountain bike racing, that came easy to me. Now began my new learning of how to not just ride the bike, but race the bike. So,
Now, what was it like in '88?
mhm.
Were you, how many other female riders were there?
Well, now, here in Iowa, they were few and far in between. And except for Mother's Day, the mothers tended to, because they knew once a year they could do this. But as I settled into this sport in Iowa at the time, there were no other mothers who were riding. Now, I will tell you this. When I decided that, rather than riding this little 20-inch, I needed something a little bigger. So my husband was racing and he said, "Here, honey, you can have my bike. I'll go get me another one." He was riding a cruiser.
Oh, he was?
He was racing cruiser. And so that bike, it was a 24-inch. That felt a lot more comfortable. Okay. Because after all, I was racing road and racing mountain. And those frames tended to be more of the size of the cruiser. Actually, they were a little larger, but that felt more comfortable. There was, and we were racing both ABA and NBL. Typically, I was racing with the men. That's who, because I was riding the cruiser. That's who I raced against. Were the men. And, raced against my husband.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we were the same age. So we were racing together, depending on where we were. And that first year we just did racing in Iowa. Okay. As we became more involved in the sport, we are now going over to Illinois. There were tracks to the north of us in Minnesota. To the west, of course, there were Nebraska. There was Omaha, and then out in Lincoln, Nebraska. And then in the south, there were already the tracks in Missouri. And so we found ourselves traveling to the tracks in the various states.
So what does it take? What kind of skill? Because it's a brand new sport. There's not a lot of ladies in it.
No.
And to step out and be in an area that you're blazing a trail.
That's what I was told. Understand, I grew up with 5 brothers. Some were older, some were younger.
Yeah.
And anything my brothers could do, I could do better. For me, it was nothing different odd, because it was like being out there with my brothers. I mean, we played baseball with them, basketball, football, you name it. I was out there doing it. Okay. So this was just one more something that I got to be a part of.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm glad you chose to be a part of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
How would you say today's young generation of female riders, how do they continue to break the mold?
Yes. One of the things I can tell you is as we began traveling and I saw the women standing, doing what I did as a mother. I'm standing on the outside of the fence, okay? And one of the things I began to say was, well, why don't you all come on over here? Girls were beginning to get involved, but typically by the time they turned 18, they stopped racing, okay? Guys continued, but but the girls and there was one other woman that I started racing with. She lived in Illinois, so I only saw her when we happened to be at some of the same races. Okay. But I started saying to women, you know what? I know I've seen you before because you're here with that young man over there. Okay. You know what? Why don't you come on out and ride? I said, and we could do this together. And they said, well, I don't know. I enjoy watching my son race and a number of their partners or husbands raced. And, yeah, that's okay. And I said, but you're here all the time. You come to all the practices. You show up for all the races. I said, I tell you what, I bet you would enjoy it. I bet you would have fun.
So why not participate?
Exactly. Because the only time they would typically participate was for a special race, which was Mother's Day.
Okay.
Okay. We slowly began to have women who were getting involved. And I made it a point. The other thing was I'm racing with the men. And mind you, I'm just riding cruiser. And the men didn't really like that a whole lot because at the end of a season, my number was a skinny digit compared to what their number was. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so one of the things I said to the men was, I'm going to petition our sanctioning bodies so that women can have their own class. Now, granted, there weren't a whole lot of us. Men's classes in cruiser were broken down in a 5-year increment. Okay. What I found happening was that there were some young ladies who, I can get involved in this because you know what, they too were riding either mountain bike and or road bike. And so some of them began to transition in. Mm-hmm. Okay. Among the older, and when I say older women, because I was always the oldest, other than the other one young lady who's older than I am.
Yeah.
And we were slowly getting a few of them involved. So as we moved into the 90s, we began, and it was the middle 90s before we had a women's class. And I say that because I did Worlds, and I want to get the year correct, but the year I did Worlds, we didn't have any women involved. And this was in Michigan, where we had Worlds. We had son Max and I had gone up the year before to race, knowing that that's where it was going to be. And so we come back, and I'm the only woman who qualified for Worlds.
Wow.
Now, to qualify for Worlds, and this would have been Worlds of 94. Okay. To qualify for Worlds, you had to have raced in your Grand National, either ABA or NBL.
Okay.
Okay. And so that year, I raced our Grands.
Oh my gosh.
With NBL.
That's fantastic.
And, actually did well. And so, and actually it was in 93 that I did it. And what they did for me was because the summer of 93, it was August of 93, racing Rantoul, Illinois. I had been learning how to jump doubles. And so I jumped, I cased the second half of the double, did a header over my bike, and I ended up breaking my neck.
Oh my gosh.
It was a C4-5 cord syndrome. And I totally paralyzed from the neck down. And so as a result, I ended up uh, in order to qualify for Worlds the following year, I still had to be there. All right. Uh, what I will say, and I did appreciate this of the NBL, they assigned two people to me, one to handle my bike and one to make sure I got up on the gate. Now, I was not allowed to sit on my bike like everyone else, but I sat on the bike. Person held my two hands and they said, Kitty, we're going to make sure you don't sit on that bike like you're supposed to. When the gate dropped, pulled me up, and the other person took the bike. Now, the rule was your bike had to cross the finish line. Okay? Didn't say anything about the person or the body. The bike. And so in 93, my bike crossed the finish line at Grand's. And so that's how I qualified for 94 Worlds, which was in Michigan. Okay. And yes, I did go to Worlds the summer of 94.
What legacy would you want to leave in BMX?
The legacy I would want to leave is, and it's not just about, racing BMX. If there's something that you not only want to try, but to become involved in, go for it. Learn all you can about whatever that may happen to be. Find the joy in whatever it is you're wanting to do. Have conversations with some of everyone, okay? Invite others to become a part. One of the things I so enjoy about this sport is I get to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't care how small or how big, the age doesn't matter. For me, I want to be able to learn from any and everyone. And not that they are all out there involved or engaged, but I always find some way of making sure that they are included. I love talking to the younger kids because they want to know, you're old. Yeah, I'm an old lady. I'm as old as your grandmother, if not older. Okay. But this is where you can excel in whatever manner you want to do. And so that's what I find about it. And when we talk about legacy should be something that others can follow.
Yeah.
Can be a part of.
Yeah.
Can find that joy. You're learning. Even at 76, I'm still learning how to race.
Yeah.
And people look at me and go, what do you mean? No two tracks are the same. And you don't get to practice on those tracks until you go there. Mm-hmm. And it may be for that time only. So what are you learning about how to race on that track? I'm not always racing the same people, except come to nationals. Mm-hmm. I know they're the ladies who will be here for the nationals. Okay. But for me, this sport is about learning and growing and knowing that in my own way, I have my own small part in this whole thing called BMX and this whole world called BMX. So I have done, as we look at worlds, I have participated in, oh goodness gracious, 4 worlds, I think. I know in 2007, I qualified for Worlds again. It was in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in Victoria, Vancouver, British Columbia. And I was ready. I mean, I had now been involved in this sport from 88 to now 2007, that I knew I was going to be able to make my mark. I'm the oldest female at this point. I'm 59. Okay. And the women our class was 45 and over women. And I'm the oldest sitting on this. Okay. I finished 7th in the world.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
Miss Kitty, I can't thank you enough for the time you've given me. You're an inspiration to many, but I have to tell you, you're an inspiration to me.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you so much. I'm just so grateful for your time and sharing all of your knowledge and wisdom and making a difference in BMX and being an inspiration for so many people. I just thank you for that. It's just a joy.
Well, as I tell people, my life is not about me. My life is about we and thee. Okay? And what am I able to do that will make a difference for someone else?
Yeah.
Okay? How it will influence them.
Yeah.
And those that surround them.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. But it's also about fun.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
I'm glad.
I'm going to keep having fun
Yeah.
for as long as I can have fun on my BMX bike. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I appreciate it.
After meeting with Miss Kitty, I had an unexpected opportunity to sit down with the next generation of the ladies of BMX. I think you too will see that these young ladies are not just riding the wave of progress, but they too are continuing to blaze the trail as the future of BMX. First is Keely Nelson, 11 girls expert, 5th 2 times at the Grand Nationals, competed in Worlds, and currently number 4 National Age Group, or NAG. Then we have Maddie Baker, 13 girls expert, competed in Worlds last year and district number 1. And by the way, both are Team USA riders.
Well, can I ask you a few questions? Like, why BMX? There's a lot of things out there, but why did you choose BMX?
My dad always did BMX, and, well, he didn't tell us, but then our granny brought us to the BMX track, and my brothers really liked it, and then I came after them. So,
Yeah? And you had a good time?
Yep.
Awesome. What did you like about it?
I really like riding my bike.
Yeah.
I've always have, so.
Yeah. Awesome. How about you? Why did you choose BMX?
I really like how it's like open.
Uh-huh.
Like it doesn't, like everyone could do it, not just 12-year-olds or whatever. Like
Yeah.
once you get a certain age, you don't have to stop. You can just keep going like
Yeah.
Miss Kitty does.
That's
Like,
right. It's
So
a big age group, right?
yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What does it take? Because, I mean, gosh, you guys are doing so good. What does it take to achieve these levels?
Hard work.
Hard work.
Hard work, determination, like
Determination. Yeah.
it's just like any other sport.
Yeah.
Like you got to be tough too. It's
I bet.
can't quit every race.
Yeah.
Like Keely said earlier.
Because someone else, they want to get to the finish line
Yeah.
first, too.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Now, both of you are daughters of track operators, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And so you both not only race, but you do like work on the track. What do you do on the track to keep it in good shape?
Patch holes and, like, race slurry when it needs it. and
Uh-huh.
stuff. Take off the sticks if they're, or, like, clean bird poop or something.
Yeah, you gotta, when it rains, you have to sweep it off
Yeah.
over water, and you have to put dirt in the holes and pack it down, and you're basically like always at the track.
Yeah. So how do you feel like you may be influencing other girls?
I mean, I hope that we're both helping other girls
Yeah.
like see that they can also like it's not just a boys sport, it's for girls too.
Yeah, definitely. And you've taught some girls, is that right?
Yes.
Both of you?
Yes.
Awesome.
I mostly just help with leagues and stuff.
Kind of help grow the sport, right?
Yeah.
After spending time with some of the legendary women of BMX and meeting the rising stars poised to follow in their tracks, one thing is clear: the future of the ladies of BMX is brighter than ever. And while many of these athletes have already achieved incredible milestones, it feels like their journey has just begun.
Good job, girls. I think we're at the end. What do you think? Is there anything else that you want to say? We have a camera that's about to die.
I wish I could remember the names of the boys that raced together.
Calling you. See you at the track?
Yeah. See you at the track. That's a good one.
I think you guys did great, man.
That was awesome.
Good job. I mean, nothing.
Greetings, Shane Fernandez, President of USA BMX and Chairman of the USA BMX Foundation. I just have to say this was one of the most inspirational videos and documentaries I've been able to see in BMX. Just as we look at our world today, when you take a look at social media, we use the term influencer. And you take a look at the history and the stories of Cindy, Diane, and Candace. In terms of the pioneers they were in bringing the spotlight to female athletes, even with the grit of competing one-on-one and head-to-head with the boys back in the day. And you take a look at where we are now, and you take a look at the spectrum of talent that's represented at the world stage in the female category, right? And you take a look at our hometown hero, Peanut. Obviously, on the United States side, you have Elise. But even on the international side, inspirational riders, Mariana is a great one as well too. That's been in Tulsa that has that a lot of our visitors have gotten to see. When you look at that spectrum of where Cindy started in Shawnee, and Diane and Candace in those stories, and where they've gone to today in terms of influencing and inspiring other females to have the courage, to set an example, to have the grit and the tenacity to chase their dream and keep moving forward. This is amazing. And then you have Miss Kitty, right? I mean, the legacy of that. And when I use the term influence, it's really easy for us in BMX to focus on what we know, which is BMX, right? Our riders, our racers, our Hall of Fame. I get the privilege of looking at and being in front of other audiences as we talk about BMX as a sport in communities, and we tell the stories of these pioneers, and then watch how cities grab hold of the dream and the excitement of BMX, and they want to replicate what they see in our tracks across North America, and they want a piece of that. I wish I could show our members and our pioneers and Miss Kitty and our Olympians the faces and the excitement that the general public feel and see when they hear these stories. So all the progress that we're making with new facilities, new membership, foundational programs going across North America, it's all based on the stories that you're telling, like on this video. So I just want to say thanks to our pioneers. Congratulations on just setting that tone. Appreciate Miss Kitty for sure. She's always an inspirational story that when we talk about just inclusivity and a sport that is for all, that resonates. And then, you take a look at Keely and Maddie and where they can go and where they've been already. But the future is bright for BMX, and it all starts with this. So really appreciate everybody. Congrats again for being featured on this. And thank you so much on behalf of our organization. And I probably would say on top of all, as well as all of our members across the United States.